Hello, everyone, and I'm Christina Giordano, the founder of Sold, which is your go-to resource for soulful entrepreneurship. And my philosophy is this: people can no longer be sold to, they must be sold to. This is selling with soul. This is marketing with integrity, where you no longer need to compromise your authenticities, your boundaries, your uniqueness, your wholeness. This is messaging in a way that actually reflects the true transformation you provide because it's your story, your transformation, and nobody can compete with that. This is monetizing yourself in a way that honors your fullness, all of the pieces and parts of you that are meant to be divinely resourced. Join me every Wednesday to learn all of this and more. Let's jump right in. So at the time of this recording, we are in the midst of eclipse season, actually right on the day of the full moon lunar eclipse, with another 4 weeks or so of the season left. So as a side note, I'm not an astrologer, but I love all things astrology, Sabian symbols, human design, gene keys, numerology, life path numbers, all of it. I'm an avid researcher of these things. And sometimes I even incorporate them into my one-to-one sessions because it can really make things a little more clear in terms of our overall calling, our purpose, and our life path. Because they essentially give a lot of context. They give a lot of context at the very least and greater clarity at the most. And when you have greater clarity, you have greater conviction in what you do and what you are meant to do. So all of these, what do we call them, pseudosciences, have really served me in getting to know myself and in understanding what moves me and what makes me act and what inspires me and what I feel compelled by. It's all quite interesting when you can tie it all together and it kind of all makes sense. So whether that's your thing or not, it's totally my thing. So if I happen to bring astrology into this every once in a while, that's why. Now, these elements that I'm talking about right now, they help us get closer to the truth of who we are and the elements of our journey that help us become more of who we are. And while I will never rely on any of the above to show me the way in terms of how I dictate my life or even how I make decisions, I use them as pieces of information and points on the larger map that help guide me through my journey. So again, it's just kind of an adjunct to what I offer, to what I believe in, to what I help people achieve for themselves. And right now, the cosmos, the collective, the vibe is telling us that the old paradigm of the way we used to live and work and be is no longer working for us. Now, in my personal opinion, the collective has evolved over the years into a level of consciousness and a higher vibration than we have ever seen or experienced. I know that this is true for me, and perhaps it is for you too. But when we ascend from a lower vibration into a higher vibration, from a more dense outlook of the world into a lighter outlook of the world, we transcend. We tap into our capacity and our ability to transcend from a state of suffering into a state of bliss. And often, as it was the case with me, it takes a tremendous amount of suffering to get us to transcend. In the depths of our despair, we have to look for more love. And we have to pull in more love because what we want more than anything as human beings generally is to feel that higher vibration of love. So when we're feeling low, when we're feeling down in the dumps, when we're, there's so many phrases that they use to describe that depth of despair. When we're down there and we don't want to stay stuck there, when we're down there, we look for the glimmers of hope. We look for more love that could be available to us and we pull it in. And a lot of the times we pull it in through our bodies, through our mind, through our spirit by feeling it. And the more that we can feel love, the more we can feel grace, we transcend. And listen, I want to be very clear. You aren't transcending anything if you're personally suffering in some way and trying to get through it by maintaining a positive state of being. This is what people refer to as spiritual bypassing. This is toxic positivity. In no way can you transcend anything without fully feeling it. You have to fully feel and accept that feeling without judgment in order to transcend it. You have to actually feel the suffering, as we can label it as, in order to let it go. I mean, they say you have to love it to let it go. You have to love it to release it. That's kind of what this is you're seeing it, you're feeling it, you're witnessing it, you're accepting it. You're letting it move you, and you're choosing to let it go. You're choosing to pull in more love. You're choosing a new light. You're choosing more grace. And as a collective, essentially, because of this ability we have learned to feel. We've learned to feel our way towards alignment, towards authenticity, towards what we love and what we don't love. And what we love is paramount right now, especially in this eclipse season. It is quite literally the face of the new paradigm. And if I don't want to get too astro technological with this, but the way that the planets are aligned with where all of the planets are, it really is an ushering into a new timeline, into a new chapter, into a new way of being. And I can feel it for myself. And I can also look at my chart and be like, I see it happening. I see it. I see what I'm moving through right now. And I can also see it in my astrology, and I can feel it in that way. That's not necessarily something you have to do or have to believe in. You can believe whatever you want, but these are the things that help me give context to the mysteries of life and whatever you'd like to call them. Now, back to the old paradigm. The old paradigm represented a time when we were hustling and grinding and wearing masks to keep going and efforting way too much for something outside of ourselves, whether it was validation or the avoidance of judgment or criticism or simply admiration from others. We were letting things slide. We were leaking energetically. I can talk for days about leaking energetically. We didn't have boundaries. We let people walk all over us. And I mean, I'm not going to put on the victim hat here. We took advantage of others too. We didn't think about ourselves. We didn't think about others. It was just, it's that low vibe kind of thing. And so we essentially did what we should do. We did what we were obligated to do. We struggled and we suffered simply to survive. Now, this old paradigm that I'm talking about, and I say that with quotation fingers, is something that we have probably been dealing with since the beginning of time, or since as early as I can remember, in terms of, wars and how women have been or have evolved over time, the view of women, the view of family and society and structure. All of these things, we have been dealing with the shoulds and the obligations and the duties for a very long time. So these are just a few examples of how the old paradigm has kind of ingrained its way into our personal and collective systems. But we know better now. Many of us know better now. And those are the ones I'm speaking to on this episode. So if you're listening to me and you're like, yes, I am so familiar with the old paradigm and I am so ready for the new one, listen up. This episode is specifically for you. I'm essentially speaking to those of you who can no longer maintain anything fake and authentic. I'm speaking to those of you who desire something better, something more aligned to you. I'm speaking to those of you who want to integrate more love into everything you do, into the flow of your business. I started Sold because I knew there were people who needed this. There were entrepreneurs who needed a way into the new level, the new paradigm of marketing. And my proprietary methods that were literally all channeled through me, the L.I.F.E method, the soul method, and the love method, they are all roadmaps back to yourself so that you can decide for yourself how you want to show up, be seen, and shine. This is marketing. It's not about what sells anymore. It's about all of the ways in which you can sell with your soul leading the way. It's about being radically honest about what you offer to people in the most authentic way possible. It's about really getting to the truth of your work and defining it through your voice. Your voice is the answer to your work. I always say this. What you say about your work is what matters most in your marketing. In the way that I help people market themselves, there's less focus on their ideal client and who they serve. There's a roundabout way of getting there through the methods. In the way that I help people market themselves, there's less focus on what the market needs from them and more focus on what they'd love to offer them. In the way that I help people market themselves, there's absolutely no cookie cutter approach to marketing. It's all based on how you desire to show up on your terms in your way. And with these methods, we figure out how to increase the flow of love into your business. Why? Because if the new paradigm of marketing is allowing us to feel and find more ways to express, share, give, receive love, why wouldn't we integrate this into our businesses more? If we have the opportunity to be more in tune with the energy of love, to be more open to it, why wouldn't we grab onto that opportunity with everything we've got? Because if love is the highest vibration, why wouldn't we let that move us? The people who have worked with me say again and again, something came alive within them during our time together. That something is the real, relatable, and relevant truth that is rooted within you about your work. And I really want you to think about this. Think about when you're doing what you do. There's a moment of magic. And I know you know what I'm talking about. It's the moment when everything just clicks. When you know that this is your calling. When you are so in flow with life and with your purpose. It's a heart-opening, spine-tingling moment of magic. When you work with me, we describe this magic. We give it meaning. We make it matter. We bring it to life through the way you market yourself. And more often than not, the magic defines the moment that love flows through. Isn't that amazing? That's what your soul longs for. The flow of love towards you and towards those you serve. So let's open the flippin' floodgates together. All right, I hope you join me for this episode. Until next time, be well and take care.